How's it going, guys and girls, and welcome back to another episode of the Falcon YouTube channel. So in this episode, we're actually starting a new series which is going to be ongoing called Student Sit Downs. So what is Student Sit Downs? Well, essentially, of course, the name is in the title. I'm going to be sitting down, having conversations with students in the community all around the world. As I said from the very beginning, our number one goal is to inspire, guide, educate, and involve as many traders around the world. And there's nothing better than actually having that conversation with that person in person and hearing their stories, seeing the impact and feeling that emotion in the room. So we're hoping to capture this to as many traders all across the world. And here we are with episode 1. So let's dig into the first episode and let me know your thoughts. We thought we'd do something a little bit different, actually, speaking with someone in the community. So this is Courtney. So Courtney's been in Falcon for a while. He's been learning, he's been doing very, very well. And we're just going to be going over, just having a raw kind of conversation of his experience. I mean, Courtney, how long have you been in Falcon now?
It'll be a year next month.
A year? That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's gone quick. That's gone really quick from when I first saw you at the Manchester meetup. Yeah, it's gone really quick. And do you know what? Like, when I get to speak to students in person and I see their growth, I see their progression, that's what normally happens. It just goes so fast. And I think that, they might have been involved in, 3 months. It's been a year already. And so much progression is made along that. So we want to try to capture as much of that as possible and just get into a bit of discussion. And hopefully you take a lot of value away from that.
A lot of the people that join Falcon are very new to trading, as I was. Mm-hmm. So the benefit is having someone teach us who's been there, gone through it. So first question is, what were some of the early conversations that you had with yourself when you were in your journey? You had no one surrounding you, no one giving you that advice. So what were some of the conversations that you used to have in your head?
Back then, there was many conversations. The main one was, because I was surrounded by, not much wealth and things like that, I used to think about, I was driven by fear, right? I wouldn't recommend this for everyone, but I was driven by the fear of being average. I thought it has to happen. Like my family, they're not wealthy. I want to be able to help my family. I want to be able to do that. So there's earlier conversations when things weren't going right. I used to think about, well, I can't give up because what's the alternative? My family don't have a good life. Unfortunately, certain accidents happen and they weren't able to do work and things like that. It's not their fault. And I thought that it's on me. I owe it to them and to my family to push through. And a lot of people have it a lot worse in different countries. And I'm almost fortunate that I've actually seen poverty in person in so many different countries, third world countries, in which that you just think, wow, they've really got it bad. I haven't got it bad. I have the opportunity to sit, poor me, I get to sit there on my laptop, log in and learn about charts and patterns and things like that. We often feel like we're hard done by, but the truth is it was those reminders to kind of humble myself and think, I've got all of the opportunity. Stop trying to force it. It takes as long as it takes. As long as I'm dedicated to being that 1% tweak better every single day, then I'm going to keep moving forward.
So what are the common traits, if any, you see amongst successful traders? And if they are common traits, can they be cultivated?
I would say yes, it's a learned behavior, and it normally comes down to just discipline, right? The successful traders are the ones that have discipline and work ethic. But I'd say discipline is the most important ones, because they have the discipline to be able to do what they need to do when they need to do it, even if they don't feel like doing it. It's a little bit like fitness. I mean, I know you're from a fitness background. You don't always want to do, or you don't always want to go to the gym, but it's necessary. Even when you really don't feel like doing it, and it's the one who's probably walking in the gym, getting it done, even when they don't feel like it, could have had a bad day, they could be feeling tired, lethargic, it could be anything. So it's the discipline to do what they need to do when they need to do it. And it could be things like back testing. Back testing for people can be a bit, tedious at times, but it's necessary. And it's so important because that's how you build the subconscious skill to actually be a good trader. So it's really disciplined, and that is learned because you can learn to be disciplined practically by setting things like goals, which is why I talk about from the very beginning. 5 daily goals, you probably used it yourself, right? It keeps you on track, it keeps you focused. When you're disciplined and you can actually track that, because just saying I'm disciplined is too kind of wishy-washy. You need something practical that's going to encourage you to be disciplined. So I do think it's a learned behavior. And if you can focus on being disciplined and have something to track it, like 5 daily goals, something as simple as that, it makes such a massive change. And you can track that, tick it off, and don't be surprised how much you actually achieve just by ticking off small goals every single day. I mean, throwing that back to you, how have you felt your transition? Tracking, is there any way that you track? Do you do kind of 5 daily goals, 3 goals, things like that to stay on top?
So I actually link a lot of the things that I do in trading to sport. and the
Okay,
gym.
nice.
Because I have that foundational knowledge and I know how it operates there, it's very easy to link it back to trading. So for instance, if I'm looking at fitness, right, I know that I have to eat well, certain amount of times a day, and I have to get up and go to the gym, I have to drink a certain amount of water. That's basic every single day. So trading, what are the things that I need to do every single day? It will be forecast in the morning, forecast in the evening, and a minimum 1 hour of back testing. So you could do back testing for 5 hours on the weekend, but what I find is if you do consistent back testing every day, it's more effective. It's like you can't go to the gym and do 5 hours on a Saturday.
On a workout thinking that it's going to, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you do, if you go to the gym and do 1 hour, 5 days in a row, that's a completely different thing. So I carry that over.
So consistency.
Yes.
And you've learned that discipline from like fitness, for example.
Yeah.
And it's almost like doing the same movement, right? I'm sure you'd vouch for this. If you're doing bench press, for example, just because you're doing bench press doesn't mean that your chest is going to grow by doing that. You could be lifting the weight, doing the same thing over and over again, but it hasn't grown yet. Yeah. Would you then just scrap it and go, I'm not going to do bench press?
Yeah.
You have to do the same movement. So even when you're back testing and things like that, or doing the daily goals, you might not see something that's visible, a visible result, just like trading with, percentage. You might not see a percentage, and trading progression isn't always measured on the percentage that you are. It's the same for that. So what I find interesting is that what you've linked to your progression is something that goes back to discipline of successful traders. If you can find discipline in one area of your life, you can normally transfer it into something else, because you just think, well, this is what got me successful and this is what I need to do. And I feel like in trading, what happens is people tend to avoid the pain. So it's like the last 2 reps, most important, right? You're going to push through it. And there's nothing wrong with struggling. If you saw someone on a bench press, we seem to be talking about fitness here, but it's so true, right? If you saw someone with some dumbbells and they're on the last reps and the last 2, and it's like really slow and they're really struggling, you wouldn't point and laugh at them, would you? You'd be like, that person's putting in the work, right? They're struggling, but that is doing that. And I think what happens in trading is that people feel embarrassed that they're struggling, but the truth is that's where you grow. So if you're struggling, you're actually on the right path. And avoiding struggle is like avoiding the last 2 reps, which is where the growth is. And I think that's so true. So I love how you've transitioned that into what you're doing now. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Next question is, you've had a great amount of success over the years. I know it's taken you a long time, and a lot of people don't know about all that background work that you put in the early days. But with the success, how do you remain humble? What are the sort of things that you do and think about? What's your mindset to remain humble and not let your ego take over? Because we all have an ego.
Of course, to an extent, and even saying that you don't have an ego is a self-righteous ego within itself, right? So I would like to say mine is more on the lower end of not feeling egotistical in that sense, and realizing that the market, you need to humble yourself before the market humbles you, and it can do at any point. So I almost learn from other people's mistakes, but like I said, a smart person learns from their own mistakes, but a more intelligent person learns from somebody else's. And I've seen like people that are worth millions, hundreds of millions, make some stupid mistakes out of ego, feeling like you're invincible and things like that. So I'm constantly reminded of these stories that, does it serve me being egotistical? Do I need to impress others and things like that? And what I actually do, it might sound really silly, right? And I still do this to this day. And those are close friends that will know this as well. I still do things like take my mum shopping, like to the supermarket. It might sound so basic, but I do. I take her shopping to Morrison's and Tesco, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, wherever we go. I still go, right? And I'm just, in normal clothes. You would never know how much I'm trading and things like that, or who I am. And I like to keep that low profile, very minimalist, neutral colours, things like that. And I do things like that to remind myself that this is what's important. And I have the freedom to be able to do that. Could I just pay for a chauffeur to just take her and just go to the most expensive place and do that? Of course I could. But it's spending that time and having those values. Everyone's all about this, outsource that, outsource this, and they forget where they came from, forget about who they are, and forget about what impact they can make. So that's more important to me. So I would say those are the kind of things that I do to just make myself humble and realize this is where I came from. And I find it easy to reflect without getting too caught up into, this industry is fueled with ego. So I really wanted to bring that to the table with Falcon, which you can see is that ethos is, infected the community in such a positive way that people don't feel that need. And don't you notice that the people that don't have it, because when they come into Falcon, they realize that there's not much ego involved, their barriers have dropped. Don't you notice that? The people that you might even know people that were egotistical that have come into Falcon, and they don't feel like this guard is up, it's gone. Because they're just like, what a genuine bunch of people that just want everybody to thrive and be more successful and do well. And why do I need to be egotistical?
You don't need it.
It doesn't need it. It doesn't exist. So yeah, that's what I do. Like little things like that helps me out massively.
Good. I think one of the things you said in your webinar, I always remember this story where you and your sister and your mum went to Safeway.
£10, yeah.
I remember Safeway. Safeway's gone now.
Yeah,
but I remember
it's gone.
Safeway, and that touched me because it was me, my mum, and my sister. And I remember we used to go to. Do you remember Netto?
Of course, I remember Netto.
Safeway.
Yeah.
9p cans of beans.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we used to go around, and I remember sometimes we didn't have enough money. We had to put stuff back, and I was like, it kind of made me relate to you a little bit more. And I was like, wow.
It makes you feel a little bit emotional.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, like you talk about money not being a driver. To me, being able to look after my mum, she's nearing retirement, knowing that we went through that struggle is way more important than any amount of money.
Of course.
Yeah.
And enjoying the process. And like that story, the reason why I hold that story, like doing that and taking my mum shopping and things like that, because I remember those stories. And for those of you that don't know, basically what used to happen is that I was too young to remember, and I only got told this at a little bit older, when I was like 16, 17, that we used to have like literally like £10 to get food and things like that. And if it went over, like even by like 20 pence, like something crazy like that, we used to have to put food back because that's all we had. And then my mum used to cry and get upset because she had my sister, my brother, and my dad was obviously working away. So he used to, being like, it got very, very complicated, put it that way. But we used to struggle for that, and she used to do that all on her own. I used to think that, yes, sometimes it got the best of her and she got emotional, but she still used to raise us and teach us good morals and be a good person and things like that. So knowing that, and I didn't know that for so long, and when my sister told me, I thought, wow, no, this is not happening. And that fire inside of me was like, I'm being successful, so that never happens again. And that's how it changed for me. So then in times of struggle and things like that, I was like, no, it's happening. So how could I let one little bit of frustration or a bad week or a bad year be like, oh, I'm not going to be successful. It's just a weak mindset. So I had to toughen myself up, and I would use those emotions to almost like you get like the goosebumps and you think, it just pushes you, and you need something deeper than just money. Money's not a big enough incentive for you to be successful. Passion, always passion.
It goes back to that why you talk about, and I think I have that deeper why, which is why it just pushes me forward.
That's all it is. No, that's an awesome question.
Can you walk us, I mean, a lot of people aren't quite at the stage of consistency. They're not at the stage of being a full-time trader. So I think it's good to experience, or at least hear what it is like, or would be like when they get to that stage. Can you walk us through a day in the life of Mark?
Oh, a day in the life of me actually changes, it varies. And we was actually just speaking about it in the boot camp today. And your routine, people expect that when you become consistent and you're profitable and you're just trading a day in the life as a trader, that you should be you got this diligent routine and everything's perfect the whole time and you're always going to have good days. But the truth is, it's not the case. Sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes your routine goes out of sync. Sometimes I've had a late night, for example, and I've woken up late and I've slept in, and then I look back and it's like a go-to setup that I should have got involved in. I planned it, I forecast it, and I didn't take the trade. And sometimes there's no justification for that. Then you overslept. It is what it is. Is it going to be the difference whether I take other good trades? No, not at all. Because I'm not chasing it. I'm chasing progression, not perfection. So a day in the life really kind of consists, like my routine's pretty diligent now, but I don't beat myself up about it if like something's slightly off. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if I wake up slightly later than I expected, I don't think, oh, my whole day's ruined. So it really consists of, checking the markets, having the routine when I'm up, and doing my forecasting. Everything that I teach, I do exactly the same thing. You know what? Even when like you see in webinars and things, even when I'm just talking, I'm still like drawing the correct, like that's how ingrained it is for me to do the things that got me consistent and successful in the first place. So it's about just having those set routines, forecasting 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. Everything else, we've already mapped it out in the webinars and the things like that, because we're so specific with what we do. I don't have to sit there all day in front of the charts, trading and like looking at that and going over the top. Sometimes I'm out doing property deals, I'm involved in things like that, I'm out with family doing those kind of things. So it's just about having that flexibility and freedom, and where that changes from time to time, I'm always doing different things, which is what I love. It could be something that's so simple as going to see my family for 2 hours. Then I'll go back, and if there's a position, if there's a lot of activity in the market, I will tend to be at home because I like to be in my setup and things like that. And you can kind of judge from the structure, the patterns of what we're looking at. Right, this is going to be a very impulsive week, for example. So then I'm more on the ball in that sense, that I'm more like looking at the charts more, I'm spending more time you can kind of tell when it's pretty corrective, the structures, after the impulses, lots of big corrections. That week's probably not going to be full of high probability opportunities. There might be valid ones, but not high probability. And that's when I can kind of take a step back and say, do you know what? I don't need to be by the charts all day. If I've got my alerts, if something goes off, perfect. If not, I just move on. And I think that flexibility of what trading it has to be. What I like to approach it with, and I know you know this as well, I want people to trade in the way that we're trading so they can have the flexibility.
Yeah.
So you're no longer thinking like, imagine you're in the gym, right, at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday, for example, thinking, I have to be in the charts. And you're like rushing your workouts because you feel like you're glued to the computer. That's not freedom. Freedom is about doing what you want, when you want, where you want, and planning for that. And actually not being frustrated if things don't go your way every single time, and not thinking that you have to catch every trade. We have so much opportunity, you don't need to force it, you know? So yeah, day in life for me changes from time to time, but it's the little things that matter. I'm sure it would be for you as well.
Yeah, that only comes from hard work though.
Of course.
Forecasting, doing the work, to then remove yourself from the screen, remove yourself from the charts. But I think what people do is they want that end product of having the freedom and checking the screens twice a day, not realising that actually comes from putting hours in at the front first.
Of course.
So that's very important.
Yeah, checking your trades on your phone in the toilet while you work. I mean, traders, we all know that.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. You just have to adapt to your situation. Some people work offshore. Some people, can't check their phone for 8 hours. Some people at work can check their phone every 2 hours, so they can be active in the markets. Just because the person can check their phone every 2 hours doesn't mean it's more consistent than the person that can only check it at the end of the day.
True.
If anything, the people that have a more limited time end up being hyper aware, and they're more selective with their opportunities, more selective with what they do, and they tend to filter out bad trades anyway because they're thinking, well, I can't manage it, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm going to wait for something, and they're more patient.
Yeah.
So just never feel like your situation that you need more time to be successful. You need to adapt to your situation. Never blame your financial situation, never blame your time zone. You're just being this blame mindset. Think about the fact that this is what you get to do. So I hope that helps.
Okay, and last one is, I know you're very big on goals. You've always set goals. You've written a book about goals. Right. And it's what you teach your students to do, set very specific goals and how to set them. What are some of your long-term trading goals? You've hit so many already.
I feel like they forever evolve, and I could tell you a trading goal now and that could change in a couple of years. But the real trading goal for me is that it's not actually percentage, it's not just monetary value, that is just a byproduct of being good and constantly growing. It's actually more to do with becoming a better trader each day and being committed to that, because it's the ego, isn't it? I never want to step into this ego where I'm above this now, yes. I've done it all. Yeah. I want to remain doing that. How would I have found the Falcon pattern? Well, I already know what I'm doing. Why would I go for any more depth to do that? I found that 3 years after consistency. That's because I have an obsession for what I do, a healthy obsession. But you have to, so for me it's just about becoming better and better. Everything else comes as a side effect. The moment I start thinking about money, I wanting to trade 20 million, 30 million, things like that, the moment I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I'm not doing the thing that got me where I am today in the first place. So for me, trading goals is more to do with processes. How can I stay diligent on my processes? How can I improve the way that I mentor and teach and things like that? That's grown over time, and the community has helped me become a better trader. Most people think, oh, why do you teach? And think teaching's made me so much better. Yeah. I'm grateful for the community so much because I've had to explain it in like 5 different ways to think, how do I explain it to that person? Because that person gets it, and then he or she doesn't. So then I have to come up with a way to explain it in a different analogy and things, and I'm like, wow, I now understand more about what I'm doing, and it's made my results improve. So for me, it's about becoming better, helping more people become better, and then I become better as a side effect. Yeah. Everything else is a byproduct.
Funny that you say that, because I can see from the time I joined Falcon to the time now.
Oh yeah, you've seen it.
That your trading has progressed as well, and so has everyone else's. Yeah. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's my dedication, staying 10 steps ahead of the market.
And they do say in a lot of the books that the best traders are the ones who just love trading, love the process, rather than focus on the product of it. Yeah.